Captain Taman gripped the armrest of his command chair as another explosion lit up the darkness of space. The merchant vessel, Sweet Harmony, one of his oldest friends in the convoy, disappeared in a ball of orange fire and twisted metal. Pieces of cargo containers scattered like leaves in a cosmic wind. "Captain, they're targeting our engines next," shouted Navigator Yuki from her station. Her hands flew across the holographic controls, trying to calculate an escape route through the asteroid field. The Krillian attack ships moved like black shadows against the stars. Their hulls were dark as midnight, covered in sharp angles that made them look more like giant insects than spacecraft. Red lights pulsed along their sides, like angry eyes. These weren't ordinary pirates, they were hunters who enjoyed the kill. "How many ships do we have left?" Taman asked, his voice calm even as his heart pounded. 7 out of 15, sir," replied his second officer. "The Morning Star and Peaceful Journey are badly damaged. They won't last another attack run through the main viewport." Taman watched as Krillian fighters swarmed around the remaining convoy ships like angry hornets. Their weapons fired streams of purple energy that sliced through merchant vessel shields like paper. The Zephyrians had no weapons. They were traders, not warriors. "Send the distress call on all frequencies," Taman ordered communications officer Hana. Despite the chaos around them, his voice remained steady. "Tell them we're under attack in the Outer Rim. Coordinates 847.3 by 221.9. Include our cargo manifest. Maybe someone will care about the medical supplies we're carrying to the colonies." Hana's fingers danced across her control panel. "Message sent, Captain. Broadcasting on emergency channels across the galaxy." The distress signal raced through hyperspace at the speed of light, reaching communication arrays on dozens of worlds. On the peaceful planet of Alturia, officials read the message and shook their heads sadly. The Outer Rim was a dangerous place. They couldn't risk their ships for strangers. The proud warriors of Centauri Prime received the call and debated for hours in their great halls. By the time they decided to send help, it would be too late. The Aquatic Federation of Nereid simply didn't have ships that could travel so far from their ocean worlds. But on a small blue planet in an unremarkable star system, the message reached Admiral Minho in his underground command center. The walls around him glowed with tactical displays showing ship positions across human space. Earth's Fourth Fleet, 30 of humanity's most advanced warships, hung in orbit above the planet like sleeping giants. "Sir, we've received a distress call from the Outer Rim," reported Lieutenant G1, her young face serious as she read the transmission data. "Zephyrian merchants under attack by Krillian raiders. They're requesting immediate assistance." Minho studied the holographic star map that appeared before him. The attack site was far from Earth, a journey that would take days even at maximum hyperspace speed. Most civilizations would consider it too risky, too expensive to mount a rescue operation so far from home. "Should we prepare a rescue mission, sir?" Juwon asked. "We could have a fast response team ready in 6 hours." The Admiral stood silent for a long moment, his dark eyes fixed on the blinking red dot that marked the Krillian attack. Around the command center, other officers waited for his decision. The soft hum of computers and the distant rumble of fusion reactors filled the quiet space. "No," Minho said finally, his voice carrying the weight of absolute authority. "We're not sending a rescue mission." Lieutenant G1 blinked in surprise. "Sir?" Minho turned to face the main tactical display, where the profiles of known Krillian ships glowed in threatening red. "Contact Admiral Suyung on the Thunder of Seoul. Tell her to prepare the Fourth Fleet for full combat operations. I want every ship armed and ready for extended battle." "But sir," Juwon said carefully, "the distress call is asking for rescue, not military action." The Admiral's expression remained cold as space itself. "Lieutenant, the Krillians have been attacking civilian convoys for 5 years. They've killed thousands of innocent traders and colonists. Every time the Galactic Council tries to negotiate, they just attack somewhere else." He walked to the large viewport that showed Earth's blue marble surface below. "The Zephyrians don't need a rescue mission. They need justice, and the galaxy needs to learn what happens when you prey on innocent people." Minho turned back to his officers, his decision final. "We're not sending help. We're sending a lesson that every pirate in the galaxy will remember for the next 1,000 years." In the depths of space, Captain Tamin and his surviving crew fought desperately against the Krillian raiders, unaware that their distress call had reached the one species in the galaxy that didn't negotiate with pirates. Earth's response was already being prepared, and it would change everything. The thunder of Sol cut through hyperspace like a blade through silk, her massive hull humming with barely contained power. Admiral Minho stood on the bridge's observation deck, watching streaks of light blur past the reinforced viewport. Behind his flagship, 29 other human warships followed in perfect formation, destroyers, cruisers, and the massive dreadnought Iron Mountain bringing up the rear. "Hyperspace navigation is stable, Admiral," reported Navigator Kyung-Soo from his station. "We'll reach the Krillian home system in 18 hours. Captain So-Young looked up from the tactical display, her expression puzzled. "Sir, are you certain about our destination?" "The distress call came from coordinates 3 sectors away. If there are survivors—" "There will be survivors," Minho interrupted quietly, "but not where everyone expects us to look." The bridge crew exchanged glances. Lieutenant Dong-hyun at communications cleared his throat nervously. "Admiral, incoming transmission from the Galactic Council. It's Ambassador Veltar. Sounds urgent." Put him through. The holographic image of Ambassador Veltar materialized above the central console. The tall blue-skinned Altarian's normally calm demeanor showed cracks of panic. His forearms gestured frantically as he spoke. "Admiral Minho, thank the stars I reached you. Your fleet is heading in completely the wrong direction." The Zephyrian convoy was attacked near the Helix Nebula, not toward the Krillian territories. "You need to change course immediately." Minho studied the alien diplomat with cold eyes. "Ambassador, I'm well aware of where the attack occurred." "Then why are you heading away from the survivors? They could be hiding in escape pods, running out of air and supplies. Every minute counts." Around the bridge, human officers continued their work with quiet efficiency. Weapons Officer Ji-hoon ran diagnostics on the ship's plasma cannons. Engineering Chief Youngmin monitored the fusion reactors that powered their hyperspace drive. They showed no signs of confusion or concern about their mission. "The survivors will be safe soon enough," Minho replied, his voice carrying absolute certainty. Veltar's image flickered as the hyperspace transmission struggled to maintain connection across the vast distance. "Admiral, I don't understand. The Galactic Council specifically requested rescue operations, not whatever this is. Where exactly are you going?" Minho's finger moved toward the transmission controls. "Somewhere the problem will be solved permanently." The hologram disappeared as the Admiral cut the connection. Veltar's voice echoed briefly across subspace before fading to static. "Sir, he's going to keep trying to contact us," warned Lieutenant Dong-hyun. "The Council is probably panicking right now." "Let them panic," Minho said. He walked to the central command platform, where Captain So-Young stood over a 3-dimensional map of local space. "Status report." So-Young's fingers danced across the holographic controls, bringing up ship diagnostics and weapon systems. "All 30 ships report ready for combat operations. The Iron Mountain's heavy plasma batteries are charged and targeting systems are online. Fighter squadrons are prepped for launch. That's 240 of our best pilots ready to deploy." She zoomed in on their destination, a red star system marked with warning beacons. "Intelligence reports show the Krillian home fleet has approximately 50 ships defending their primary world. Most are older models, but they have superior numbers." "What about their orbital defenses?" asked Tactical Officer Min Seok. 12 battle stations surrounding the planet, plus automated defense platforms. Our long-range scouts report heavy shield generators and missile batteries." So-Young paused, looking up at the Admiral. "Sir, the Krillians won't expect us to strike. Their home base. Most civilizations would focus on rescue operations." Minho nodded slowly. "That's exactly why this will work. For 5 years, the Krillians have attacked civilian convoys because they knew no one would retaliate. They hide behind their home defenses and send out raiding parties to prey on innocent traders." He pointed to the tactical display showing Krillian attack patterns over recent months. Red lines crisscrossed the galaxy, marking trade routes where merchant ships had been attacked, hundreds of civilian vessels destroyed, thousands of innocent people killed or enslaved. Every government in the galaxy treats piracy like a natural disaster, something to endure and clean up afterward. They send rescue ships to save survivors and rebuild what was destroyed. But they never ask the real question. Which is? Captain Soyoung asked. How do you stop a hurricane? Minho's eyes hardened. You don't negotiate with it. You don't try to redirect it. You remove the conditions that created it in the first place. On the main display, their destination. System grew larger as the fleet approached. Krylos Prime, a world that had become the center of piracy in 3 sectors. From this planet, raid commanders planned their attacks and counted their stolen wealth. Admiral, Communications Officer, Dongyun reported, "We're receiving multiple transmissions from across the galaxy. The Altarian Defense Force is asking about our intentions. The Centauri military wants to coordinate rescue efforts. Even the Peaceful Trade Alliance is offering ships to help search for survivors. Acknowledge their offers politely and tell them we have the situation under control," Minho replied. "Today we teach the galaxy what happens when you prey on innocent traders." The Thunder of Soul shuddered slightly as she prepared to drop out of hyperspace. Around the bridge, warning. Lights shifted from blue to amber. In 18 hours, the Krillian home system would face something it had never encountered. A species that didn't just rescue victims, but eliminated threats entirely. Space around Krylos Prime erupted into chaos as 30 human warships materialized, from hyperspace like ghosts becoming solid. The Thunder of Soul led the formation, her massive hull gleaming silver against the red glow of the system's dying star. Behind her, destroyers and cruisers spread out in perfect attack formation, their weapons already charging with deadly energy. Admiral Minho stood on the bridge, his hands clasped behind his back as he watched the Krillian home fleet scramble to respond. 50 enemy ships hung in orbit around the planet, some sleek raiders, others massive cargo vessels filled with stolen goods. Their dark hulls reflected the system's crimson light like pools of blood. "Open a channel to all frequencies," Minho commanded. Lieutenant Dongyun's fingers flew across his controls. "Channel open, sir. Broadcasting on all emergency and military frequencies." Minho's voice carried across the void, reaching every ship and station in the system. "This is Admiral Minho of the Earth Defense Force. 3 days ago, you attacked innocent Zephyrian merchants in the Outer Rim. Today, you answer for that crime. Any Krillian vessel that powers down weapons and surrenders will be spared. All others will be destroyed." The bridge fell silent, except for the soft hum of life support systems. Through the viewport, the human fleet hung motionless in space, waiting. Energy readings showed their weapons were fully charged, but no shots had been fired. "Sir," reported Tactical Officer Minsok, "the Krillian fleet is responding." On the main display, dozens of red dots suddenly came alive. Missile tubes opened along Krillian hulls like the mouths of hungry beasts. Warning alarms echoed across the pirate fleet's communication channels. "Incoming missiles," shouted Weapons Officer Jihoon. 236 warheads inbound." The Krillian response was a wall of death racing toward the human ships. Plasma warheads, fusion bombs, and kinetic penetrators that could punch through the hull of any normal vessel. It was their standard tactic: overwhelm the enemy with massive firepower and collect the wreckage afterward. It was also their final mistake. "Activate point defense systems," Captain Soyoung ordered calmly. "All ships, weapons free." The space between the fleets lit up like a festival of destruction. Human point defense lasers created a web of golden light, each beam precisely targeted to intercept incoming missiles. Explosions bloomed in the void as warheads detonated harmlessly against the defensive screen. "Direct hit on our port shields," reported shield technician Haywan. "Down to 92%. "Return fire," Minho commanded. "Show them what real weapons look like." The human fleet unleashed hell. Plasma cannons that could melt asteroids fired in perfect synchronization. Magnetic railguns accelerated projectiles to near-light speed. The Iron Mountain's heavy batteries sent beams of pure energy that could crack a moon in half. The first Krillian ship to die was a raider called Blood Hunter. A plasma beam from the Thunder of Soul punched through her shields and hull like they were made of paper. The ship split in half, its contents spilling into vacuum, stolen cargo, weapons, and the bodies of pirates who had terrorized civilian convoys for years. "Commander Hyunwoo, launch all fighter squadrons," Minho ordered into his headset. From the hangar bays of 6 human ships, 240 fighters erupted into space like angry wasps. These weren't the crude attack craft most civilizations used. They were precision-killing machines piloted by Earth's finest warriors. "Phoenix Squadron, this is Commander Hyunwoo," came the voice over the comm system. "Target the orbital stations first. Dragon Squadron, take out their command ships. Remember, we don't just defeat them, we erase them. No pirate base survives today." The human fighters moved with deadly grace, their pilots using tactics that would make veteran warriors weep. They didn't just attack, they hunted. Each squadron worked together like a pack of predators, isolating enemy ships and destroying them with surgical precision. Lieutenant Yeonwoo's fighter screamed past a Krillian destroyer, her plasma cannons stitching a line of destruction across its hull. "Tango down!" That's the Dark Vengeance. She was responsible for the massacre at Depot 7. The battle became a slaughter. Krillian ships that had terrorized the galaxy for years burned like candles in the void. Their superior numbers meant nothing against human technology and tactics. Within the first hour, half the pirate fleet was destroyed or crippled. "Admiral," reported Communications Officer Dong Yun, "we're getting surrender signals from 12 Krillian vessels." "Accept their surrender and have them dock with our prison ships," Minho replied. "But keep firing on the others." 3 massive orbital stations defended Krylos Prime, ancient structures bristling with weapons and shielding. They had never fallen to any attack in their 500-year history. Today they would become debris. "Iron Mountain, target the primary station," ordered Captain Soyoung. "Full power to main batteries." The Dreadnought's massive guns swiveled toward the largest orbital fortress. Energy readings spiked as the ship's fusion reactors fed power to weapons that could level cities. The station's shields flared as the first volley struck, but they held. The second volley broke them like glass. "Station 1 is breaking apart," reported sensor technician Bora. "Massive structural failure across all sections." The orbital fortress that had protected Krylos Prime for centuries became a cloud of twisted metal and bodies. The other 2 stations lasted only minutes longer. "Captain Nari, take your Marines and board the command station," Minho ordered. "I want their databases intact." "Understood, Admiral. Boarding shuttles launching now." Captain Nari led 200 of Earth's finest soldiers across the void in heavily armored assault shuttles. They cut through the crippled station's hull with plasma torches and fought their way to the command center. The Krillian defenders, alien pirates with 4 arms and natural armor, fought desperately but were overwhelmed by human tactics and superior weapons. "Admiral, we've secured the command center," Nari reported 20 minutes later. "Downloading their databases now. These files contain everything. Every pirate base, every planned raid, every stolen cargo manifest for the past decade." On the bridge of the Thunder of Seoul, Lieutenant Junho studied the captured data with growing amazement. "Sir, we've identified 47 pirate bases across 8 star systems, hidden shipyards, slave markets, weapons depots, the entire criminal network that's been plaguing this sector." Admiral Minho studied the tactical display as red markers appeared throughout local space. Each one represented a nest of pirates that had caused untold suffering. His expression remained cold as winter on Earth's polar regions. "Mark them all for destruction," he commanded. "We hunt every last one." The siege of Krylos Prime began at dawn, when the planet's 3 suns cast long shadows across its scarred surface. From orbit, Admiral Minho watched through the Thunder of Seoul's tactical display as his forces prepared for the most precise military operation in galactic history. "Begin planetary broadcast," Minho commanded. "I want every news network, every government, every civilian in the galaxy to see what happens next." Lieutenant Dong Hyun activated the quantum communication array. "Broadcasting on all frequencies, sir." Estimated audience: over 4 trillion beings across 200 worlds. The human fleet had destroyed the orbital defenses, but the real threat lay on the planet below. Krylos Prime wasn't just a homeworld, it was a fortress. Massive underground. Bunkers housed weapons factories that produced the guns used in pirate raids. Training academies taught young Krillians how to board civilian ships and terrorize innocent traders. Command centers coordinated attacks across dozens of star systems. "Colonel Seungyun, your Marines are cleared for planetary assault," Minho said into his headset. "Remember, this isn't conquest. This is extermination of a threat." Admiral Minho walked to the large viewport that showed Zephyr Prime rotating slowly below. The planet's surface sparkled with lights from rebuilt cities and restored factories. Human atmospheric processors worked alongside Zephyrian agricultural systems to repair damage from old pirate raids. "Because someone had to," Minho replied simply. "For too long, the galaxy has treated piracy like bad weather, something to endure and clean up afterward. No one ever asked the real question, which was, how do you stop the storm?" Minho turned back to face Taemin. "You don't rebuild the same targets for pirates to attack again. You eliminate the conditions that create pirates in the first place." Through the station's communication array, their conversation was being broadcast across the galaxy. In the crystal chambers of the Galactic Council on Altoria Prime, Ambassador Veltar read reports that seemed impossible to believe. "Piracy in the Outer Rim has decreased by 94%, he announced to the assembled delegates. "No attacks on civilian vessels reported in 6 sectors. Trade route efficiency is up 47%. Insurance costs for merchant vessels have dropped to historic lows." The Zentori representative, a proud warrior whose people had struggled against pirates for generations, stood slowly. "How?" "We've been fighting these criminals for centuries with minimal success." Veltar consulted his holographic display, showing statistics that painted an incredible picture. "According to our intelligence networks, every major pirate faction in known space has either disbanded or fled to uncharted regions. The hegemony pirates abandoned 17 bases. The Void Reapers simply vanished. Even minor criminal organizations are switching to legitimate business rather than risk drawing human attention." On the trading world of Mercantile Station, merchant captains gathered around news displays showing footage from the human reconstruction of Zephyr Prime. Captain Yorick, a veteran trader who had lost 3 ships to pirates over the years, watched. Human engineers teaching Zephyrian workers how to build better defensive systems. "They're not just protecting that one world," he said to his crew. "They're showing everyone how to protect themselves." The footage showed human-designed early warning systems being installed throughout Zephyrian space. Long-range sensors that could detect approaching raiders days in advance. Automated distress beacons that could summon help from across the sector. Most importantly, small but powerful defensive platforms that could hold off attackers until rescue arrived. Back on the rebuilt station, Admiral Minho received a priority transmission from Earth Command. "Admiral, the Galactic Council is requesting a formal meeting. They want to discuss expanding human involvement in anti-piracy operations. Tell them we're not interested in formal treaties or council memberships," Minho replied. "But if they hear about attacks on innocent traders, they know where to find us." In the weeks that followed, the galaxy discovered a new reality. Pirate attacks didn't just stop, they became impossible. Word spread through criminal networks that attacking civilian ships would bring swift and total retaliation from the species that lived on the death world called Earth. The Astral Syndicate, once the most feared pirate organization in 3 sectors, quietly disbanded and opened legitimate shipping companies. The Crimson Armada fled so far into uncharted space that even long-range sensors couldn't find them. Smaller criminal groups either went legitimate or simply disappeared. Captain Taemin stood on his restored bridge as the gentle current prepared for her first post-attack trading run. His ship had been rebuilt with human technology, stronger, hulls, better engines, and defensive systems that could actually protect his crew. "Captain," Navigator Yuki reported, "we're receiving escort offers from 7 different security companies. All of them are run by former pirates who've decided to switch sides." Through the main viewer, space around Zephyr Prime bustled with activity. Merchant ships moved along clearly marked safe routes. Human patrol vessels, small but deadly, maintained discreet watch from the outer system. Most importantly, automated beacons broadcast a simple message to anyone entering the system. This trade route is under the protection of the Earth Defense Force. The galaxy had learned something important about the species from the small blue planet. Humans didn't just send help when innocents were threatened, they sent absolute justice. They didn't just rescue victims. They eliminated the conditions that created victims in the first place, and sometimes that justice looked exactly like war. As Captain Tamin's convoy jumped to hyperspace, carrying goods to colonies that hadn't seen regular trade in years, he knew the galaxy had changed forever. The age of piracy was ending, not through negotiations or treaties, but through the simple understanding that some species didn't negotiate with predators, they eliminated them. The end.